order. Any changes or additions to the agenda? Anybody? Okay, we're good. We'll go with the regular agenda then. January regular minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Stan to approve the January minutes. Second by Boone. Any discussion on it? Hearing no discussion. If all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Special meeting minutes, that was, how's your bills?
On the phone.
Yeah, that was a phone meeting for bills and stuff. Double motion by Brian Louth, make the motion to accept those. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian Miller. Any discussion? Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then
All right, I apologize. I believe this is clarified before we move on. I just want to know here, when you look at those minutes, the motion, which was made by Stan to charge the township $150 plus postage and the city's $250 plus postage, that was disputed to me, that part.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Jana. She said, well, that's, as far as she knew, I think it was a keystroke error in a message that was sent to her and to Scott Fetch. I believe this to be correct, and it's been verified to me by, I believe, Stan. I think you verified it. That was the motion that you made.
Yeah.
And Jana, so I didn't want to not bring it up, but she claims that it's supposed to be $200, and boy, that's certainly not what and I didn't have any information before I took those minutes, so I wrote what I believe the motion was, so.
Do you guys remember that at all?
well, I remember the conversation.
And she wasn't at the meeting, so I don't know where she
I'm almost positive
Yeah.
that it was 250. It wasn't 152. That wasn't a big enough difference. It was 150, 250. But I think when the message got relayed to Fetch and that
Original message to them must have had a keystroke error or something, but,
right. She said, because she actually reached out, well, I went to the Hertzfield City Council meeting just because Beth went and I drove along and she mentioned it there. To me, not part of the meeting, but she mentioned it to me. She said, I got two different, I'm sticking with the 250. You remember that too?
Sounds right to me.
so anyway, I wanted to suggest that I had been contacted a couple different times on that, and I believe that was.
Okay, that went up to 250. Was it
No, it was
200?
zero, there was no charge.
No.
Oh, okay.
This is a new thing.
Because they had to send
Right.
us.
And then,
Right.
interestingly enough, I did get a call from a legislator. And he said, what's this about? I said, in your legislation in the century code now, this requirement is there, and oh, I didn't know that. Okay, you know, and when Jana reached out to me on that, I said, yeah, unintended consequences, they do stuff like this all the time.
No, without a doubt, no.
Because Bev Hart reached out to legislators also, was wondering what the deal was.
And I'm sure that's why he called me.
Right.
But,
Yep.
So we're okay with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all done with that. Did we approve these,
January 20th.
You didn't do the 20th.
26th one, all right?
Yep.
That, other special meeting minutes, we need an approval on that.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Boone, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Miller. Any other discussion on this one? Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Time sheets are floating around there somewhere.
Yeah, they're.
I don't know, nothing Nothing unusual, got them all.
All right, very good. Let's move on to the bills then. Scrutinize them.
What's $11,000 camera, is that new cameras again, or?
I
Sheriff,
assume you're in the sheriff's department.
Axon, well, the bottom of the first page.
That is, we make that payment now every year.
Where's that at, sir?
Right now.
Way in the
Second
bottom.
one from the
Axon
bottom.
Enterprises.
So, but that's just to provide
That's
storage
the-
space for the,
That's the sheriff dash and body cams, and it's just a technology fee for maintenance of video and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Something that I'm not 100% sure that the department knew that they would be paying, but now they are obligated to pay it.
There's another figure.
what a waste of money.
So there's like there were two of the cameras.
Well, I'm guessing their big cost is they're storing this information that the camera collects up in some cloud or someplace. 2 months later, you can go back and get it, which for court purposes is fine.
Yeah, we'll have that, as long as we have that camera system, we'll have that payment.
Yeah, storing it lower, that's fine, fine, good. Yeah, darn, it seems like a lot of money for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, look, yeah.
Up on, third of the way down, what's MARC marked for,
That is chemical, so I believe that one is for salt for the sidewalks. We bought 18 fills because that's where the ice, or where the ice break was. So we just got that stuff, and 18 fills by smell.
The North Dakota Association of Counties, how often do we pay that technology? 3,600. About halfway down front page.
That is an annual subscription to the,
That's a once-a-year deal.
Yeah,
so
that'd be
once a
it.
year.
I'm thinking.
it's GPS, so you can see the school districts, the fire districts, everything laid out on a GPS map, but it's an annual fee.
yeah, just look at that from 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Technology costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the other, another.
Every month there's some kind of payment to do that.
Well, it's just like your own personal Wi-Fi's and
Yeah.
cables and all that, yeah, a lot of things going up, you know.
You should all be IT guys.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. The 911, the North Dakota State Radio. Is that an annual payment in there too?
Oh, yeah.
Except in the back of the front page, 911.
Yep,
That's an annual payment?
I believe it's annual, but,
And we collect some for that, but
yes,
not,
we
not
collect,
enough.
but not enough to pay the bill. That's when you look on your phone bill and it says 911, you get charged about 50 or whatever. So we do collect, but it's not enough to cover the cost, but that cost is regulated by government. You can't go above that.
Now we've been in on that, that's been good, and talk to us about that.
And the state has raised that
They
bill
raised it,
over the
yeah.
years.
Right. I was just curious if that was an annual deal or what. And then we go to HB 1066 Maddock Construction. That was for something they did for us.
Bunch of gravel.
Bunch of gravel.
Crushing.
They must have crushed the pile.
When they did that, black stuff out of it.
And then,
Yeah, but that ain't gonna cost that.
and then
Where
the
is it at?
royalties are also included in that.
Middle of the second page.
Oh,
That was loud.
They must have crushed the pile someplace.
Yeah.
We must have some inventory, hopefully.
Well, they've been hauling some in. I know that.
right.
Yeah. Because it was decent weather, they hauled some in.
Well, the city hauled that.
And this
Or-
year
or
might,
county.
that bill might
County
be,
hauled that in.
that bill might be over a year old too. Some guys are good at that. Not getting their bill in right away.
And Brent had said a while ago that they were like,
I know they have problems with that.
And there should be some interest here if you flip over to highway tax, third one down, 17,664, that's for 2 extended warranties on blades. Split it right down in half, that's what an extended warranty costs.
Go back to that page, Dan, explain that the county agent, NDSU pays 7249, and we pay 79.
Well, 79 is the total.
Oh, that's the
all.
total of it, okay.
So we just pay them, they pay half their salary and for benefits.
But all the maintenance, telephone, well, that's our expense, or they could have that too?
No, they only pay for the agent, her salary, or half her salary and the benefits. They pay for that. Everything else we pay for.
Including the assistant or
If
secretary.
she goes someplace, mileage, that's all on us. So half the salary.
Over here, there's one called power plant, highway tax.
That is, it's just Butler's way of, you pay certain things to Butler, you pay certain things to RDO, you pay certain things to what they call power plant, and I think it has to do with servicing the machines, you know. They might come out here for nothing, but you have to pay for certain things, and, that are under warranty, so.
Yeah, that seems high though.
Well, there's 2 of them. There's power plant for 8, and the next one right down,
Yeah.
Butler machines for 6.
Ask Brent when he comes in, that's a good question to ask him.
That RDO warranty, is that just for a year?
Yes, it's 2 blades, 1 year apiece. So if you split that in half, $800 a piece or something like that, but I still think that's money well spent.
And I don't think so.
You don't?
No, put that over 5 years, it's $100,000, we're gonna have $100,000 worth of expenses on 2 blades over 5 years. I'd take my chances.
Seems like they're always putting some parts on it.
That one John Deere's a lemon and Harvey.
Yeah, but,
Well,
but,
that's under
But that's
warranty.
under
Yeah.
warranty.
But
These are ones that are more than 5 years old.
Right.
Oh, okay.
but the extended warranties does not cover electrical.
Right, there's some caveats there that extended warranties don't cover everything like the original 5,000 hour warranty does.
Right.
That's what they're having trouble with, that one. isn't it?
That's the one in Harvey, that is electrical is a headache.
It's all electrical.
'Cause
But that's
you
still under warranty.
You could have them out here on any given Tuesday and the bill could be $23,000. I think it's money well spent. I think it's peace of mind once that thing is more than 5 years old. Why do car companies give you now a 7-year, 70,000-mile warranty? They're betting that nothing will go wrong with that in the first 7 years and 70,000 miles. And after that, they don't wanna cover it because they know stuff's gonna start happening. This computer has a 3-year warranty. There's a reason for that.
And all those machines are computerized.
Yeah.
Right.
How old is our oldest one? Do you have any of that info?
Well, obviously, these 2 blades are into their 6th year.
6 years.
That one that we have that is our backup,
Isn't that 7?
it's either 7 or 8.
Might be 8 or 8.
But we're never gonna know anything wrong with that because it hasn't been started in more than a year. So it just sits out here, it's plugged in and ready to go.
Didn't Brent use that last spring at all?
I think so.
I
Very little.
looked at it and I don't know that it ran more than an hour and 20 minutes. So.
And that's probably a good time to talk about when Brent is in here. We should either consider putting somebody in the dang thing or sell it. I think you'd be better off selling that John Deere probably.
I mean, any way you look at it, you're gonna take less,
When the warranty's up.
well, whatever, I mean, if you understand what I'm getting at. So that
Or,
one,
but you're trading a lot of years and years with this doggone.
And I-
machine.
Why couldn't we have Brent Blade one day out of,
Well,
Well-
we talked about that.
I brought that up, but Brent's not here now. you bring up that, and you bring up two ideas I had. You have him blade one day a year, and you have the blade operators set their own hours. If you guys aren't in all agreement of bringing that to Brent, it doesn't pay to even mention it to him, because, you know.
Right.
That's
Well, I
right.
think it's
And
worth talking about, yeah.
when we're running 8 rounds, I don't think it's a bad idea to have a night blade,
Well,
because
there's
when one
first-
does go down, especially in the summertime, it's nice to have that as a, okay, we can continue doing our work while that one gets fixed, okay? But, yeah.
Especially for the first blading in the spring, where it needs to get
Yeah.
bladed before the grass starts growing on the shoulders and all this.
All right,
That wouldn't
especially
hurt him to run a month,
Brent's
4
actually
days.
pretty good at bringing in
Yeah.
shoulders, and that was the theory, that he was gonna do that last spring, but,
Well, here's another variable which we were forgetting about, that's a doggone lucky the last few winters. You get a tough winter, you probably got a good thing to have that extra blade too.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
winter
think,
time-
but if we were to go to 7 rounds, ain't no point in keeping 9.
No,
no,
right.
no.
But, winter time breaks a lot of stuff breaks down the blade.
This one's cold.
And they're ramming big things and stuff, you know.
Anyway.
So that's a good job of scrutinizing the bills, you guys.
That's the longest we've ever spent on bills.
But, you know, that's good to do that, because it answers some of these questions they have.
One we're gonna ask.
I guess I got one more. On the jail and transportation, that $5,000, that's per month, is that usually?
Well, it just depends on if you have people incarcerated in rugby,
Right.
in this case. And every once in a while, we'll get a bill from someplace else, but normally our prisoners are gonna be in rugby.
Well, not to mention names, because we have two in there. One got sentenced and is no longer in there, so next month it should be less,
Right.
correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
And then I believe it's broke down into their incarceration, and then there's if they have any medical treatment, you're also on the hook for that. Is there anything in there about that?
Yeah, it says $120 for transport medication.
Yeah, so,
That's crazy.
and then if you have to bring them back to court, when the guy will get them, bring them back here and they'll take them back, so.
Yeah.
Which they've been a little bit more diligent about doing that FaceTime on some of them.
So I guess there's technology. to
Gosh,
that.
Yeah, right.
that's another 5,000.
So they do it on the phone.
On Zoom.
Yeah, on Zoom. Right.
We'll face it, yeah. All right, I guess I need a motion to accept the bills.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Brian Miller, second by Brian Lau. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
All right, just, I'm not gonna worry to tears here on the balance sheet. Just a couple of things I wanna point out. Obviously, you see about 3 or 4 lines down, your capital projects fund is now just a tish over 400 grand. Obviously, we're gonna use about 400 grand for that bridge replacement out here. That'll be our share, and that's why we put that levy into place for that. And hopefully that will continue to grow and will assist us with future projects of a like nature. You see House Bill 66 is down to just over $500,000. We've been using that obviously, whether it's getting gravel crushed or for future needs for anything that's infrastructure related. And for that, we pretty much stick exclusively to roads and bridges. A couple other things here. You see the general fund right now sits at $5.746 million. We're in the middle of collection season, so that should still go up some yet before it starts to decline. 911, because they've got collections, it looks better than it did, but that too will rise just a little bit more and then will start to decline. And for a situation like that, you don't even have, that's not even counting that payment that you just saw and approved in your bill, because this was at the end of January. At the end of February, you'll see that bill here as a warrant on the sheet, so that will, go backwards. If you take the road fund, along with the highway tax and that, fund federal aid road that still sits there, negative $480,275.39. That's the best situation that fund has been in a long time. And it will improve a little bit because collections are still coming, but then we'll start to head in the other direction again. And this mild winter is going to help in that as well. And we're gonna talk about this a lot more when we get to planning and so on. Then, when you go down to the welfare fund, which is social services, they just got, their first half, of their payments, so that sits at $1.108 million. And then everything below that, even though you'll see totals in those columns again at the end of this month, we just sent payments out yesterday to all the cities, ambulance districts, fire districts, townships, school districts, et cetera.
Schools, yeah.
Every one of those dollars below that will clear out of there. They will have collections again in February, but we'll pay them again in March. So that stuff, you know, you got $11.229 million is the bottom line. You really don't have 11 point.
And here's the deal, how the heck do we make people understand that? We got employees that think we have all kinds of money, but this money's all spoken for.
Well, we're a pass-through to every political subdivision in Weisz County. I mean, that's just the nature of how it works. Every county would have a balance sheet that looks similar to this. Their numbers are gonna be different, but they're doing the exact same thing we are. You know, if somehow magically we got rid of that, you know, this sheet would be only this long, if you weren't the middleman for all those things. So, our budget, if you remember, is $6 million. But more than $16 million passes through Weisz County. So we send more money out to political subs than we actually keep here in Weisz County.
How many times have you guys heard, and from some of the places, you guys got all that money in the bank? What the heck?
Well, they don't understand either
I know it.
why the county is the collection point for all this. And I've tried to explain to them, you need to tell me that the state's supposed to send out literally thousands of entities throughout the state. You know, the state's not gonna send the Maddock
One
ambulance
people or
district that money,
Right.
and, you know,
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta be the collector.
That's right.
It is amazing, you know, in the first couple of years of hybrid residence credit, we've had it, I think, in place now for a couple of years. The first 2 cycles of that, a lot of people didn't know.
Yeah, I
You know what, that happens. But they have advertised the heck out of that. And you see it all over the place. You see it in newspapers, you see it on television, you see it on the radio. They're doing, I think, a really good job of advertising. I had somebody approach me yesterday, as sure as I'm standing here, this is an educated individual, been around a long time, came up to me and said, I didn't know we were gonna get $1,600 off on property taxes. Swear to God, this was yesterday, I was at Drive Chevrolet in the afternoon, and this person came up and started saying this. People, what rock are you living underneath? Because, yeah, that, holy cow. So, they were,
have you had a number of people, with Jano being here, yeah, now has another job, call you and say, how do I apply for this? You know, you go
I have
online and you gotta
not-
do all that?
not this year, but I have in the past, in prior years. I know my tax man asks me every year that we've had it, he asks me, did you apply for it? Usually, of course, I did. He said, Dan, you should do something for all tax prep people, is get the deadline changed to April 15. So they, you know, every tax preparation person will ask their clients this.
Oh, sure.
And he's, I don't know who he does taxes for, obviously, he does a lot of them, but he says that a lot of his clients say, oh, yes, that's a scam.
It's a scam.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people think that.
What?
Well, they've just, been told a lot of this stuff, scam stuff, so they're just leery, but if they listen to the news and listen to a few things.
And by the way, that's the number one place that they advertise is during news programs.
Yeah.
And that tells me not very many people are watching the news anymore.
Well, how about the stuff that comes in your tax statement, they throw that away too?
And exactly, because it's in there.
Yeah. I mean, that gives you the information where,
Right,
what,
exactly.
I mean, that is what you would think.
But it takes literally less than 30 seconds to apply for $1,600. And you shouldn't need help, but I think the tax prep people are smart to try and help people do that, because that's a big deal now, one was $500.
Right.
I wanna minimize that, but that's $40 a month, basically. Now that it's $1,600,
It's starting to be real money.
That's $133 a month.
Oh,
So, anyway, that's enough on the balance sheet. I will direct you to our CD stuff, money
Do
market.
we need to approve this first?
We don't need a motion for that.
Well, the balance sheet, yeah, we better do
Yeah,
that.
I think so. I need a motion to approve the balance sheet. So moved by Boone, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brown Law. Any discussion on it? Good discussion there. Hearing no more, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, as far as your investments, they're there. You've got a handful of different CDs. Rates are coming down. They're under 3 now. The few that you see that are still in excess of 4, those are things that are gonna mature here shortly.
I mean, you meant to say they're under 4 now.
They're under 4 now.
Right, you said
Those
they're
are-
under 3.
No, they're in the 3s, I'm sorry.
Right, yeah.
Those that are over 4, will just, you see one renews on Valentine's Day there, and we just renewed one there for $395. All the banks so far have given me a little bit more than what they would give their average customer. So, it's a little bit better than it
Well,
would.
especially if you keep a big down. I mean, if you
Right.
do a $10,000 CD, they probably won't, but it's a big quantity.
The only other one they do that for is your Boone.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, well, his numbers would be there.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
when you pack that kind of punch, you, okay. And you see our money market rate has fallen from 3.51 to 3.10. That too is 0.10 better than they'll give their average customer in the money market. So it's down to 3, but I squeezed 3.10 out of it, and so on. So you see right now, there's $8.6 million. This is not our high water mark. If we go back and look last September, October, we had larger balance than that. So, and it does stand to reason that it may go up just a little bit more as we've got some collections coming, and of course we'll get our PRC money end of March, beginning of April. So it's possible it might go up just a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna go up too much more. And
No,
of
if
course
you just paid, if you paid all the political subdivisions at the end of January,
So we were thinking that we were gonna have to make a withdrawal here to cover all these checks we've written between this and the bills that you just approved, but I think we're gonna that we won't have to make a transfer yet. So, and then if you flip over to the next page, which is the funds controlled by the commission. That's all the same information that I provide you. Those numbers are taken right from that balance sheet that we just covered a few moments ago. So that road department deficit is exactly what I shared with you a few moments ago. General fund balance is exactly what I shared with you, House Bill 1066. So really and truly, and I always put that on here in hopes that you understand this. This negative number isn't a bad thing. It just means that you don't have anything at your fingertips right now to spend. It's all, you can pull money out of the money market if you have to spend it. Okay? But if you are going to, somebody came in here and requested $314,000, there's only one place to get it, because you don't have it. You'd have to pull it out of the money market in order to be able to do that. Do you have any questions on anything that you see here? I just don't want that money sitting in a checking account. It serves no useful purpose.
That pays a couple salaries.
It doesn't. Our money market alone pays two people's wages, stuff every month. Right now.
Well, to do the math on that, if you add right now, it's gonna go down, but it's between $800 and $900 a day in interest, which is real money.
About $10,000 a month, and that's right about what that would be.
Okay.
And anytime, we do have some extra money and it's late in the week, or transfer that money today, but there's 2 free days.
Yeah, the Saturday,
This
Sunday
weekend.
interest counts up too.
It does.
On that amount, yes.
Right.
So, okay, so we will need a motion to approve Laura and I to deal with the investment fees.
So moved by Boone, to approve that, is there a second? Second by Brian Miller, discussion on it. I guess one point we just would like to emphasize that that's a really good deal because we just stated that that pays for some salaries which ordinarily wouldn't have that. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, as far as correspondence goes, there's a couple things with spring white goose, spring wild turkey proclamations issued by the state of North Dakota. You can hand that stuff out to all your friends if you so choose. And then the extension agency has their fourth quarter newsletter in here. It talks a little bit about what they did in the latter part of 2025. So you can peruse through that as you see fit.
The new agents often running good. Brian, is that yours or yours?
It's been fine, and
I think it's good for a while.
Anybody's gonna go through a certain period of time,
Learning curve.
but I think, from my observations, I think it's going pretty well, and I think those two get along fairly well.
we're gonna have, Brian, did you get notified that we're gonna have the year Dina's coming? You didn't get, I think Dina's coming and we have to go, I gotta look back and figure out when that is. Her year
Probably do
your evaluation, that's gonna be here this month. Well, we know it.
Person from NDSU comes up.
Yeah.
She's the one that helped hire her.
Dina does it, I'm pretty sure.
Tina Kemp.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're through with that, there are a handful of appointments that are remaining here for you guys, for district health. Beth Hueseth has agreed evidently to accept a vacant seat, so I would need somebody to approve her.
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
Motion made by Stan to appoint Beth Hueseth to the public health field. Is there a second to that? Second, Brian Miller. Discussion on it. That was Caitlin went and found somebody that's got some health background.
She should be good.
Excellent choice there. So. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
For GDA, Sherry Lein, Robert Martin, Arnie Selzler, and Paula Tweeten were all up. They have, they would like to stay, and they would like to have them stay. And then they had one vacancy left by Spencer Marchand, and they would like to appoint Donnie Hepburn to that vacancy.
This is for JDA.
GDA.
Okay. As I heard the list, is there a motion to accept that?
All motion to accept them.
Brian Miller, motion to accept them to the JDA board. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Van Welt. Discussion. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Then on the Human Service Zone Board, evidently Becky Hoggle is willing to stay on now, so, and then Brian Miller needs to be reappointed to that. So,
Motion to reappoint Brian Miller to this post
And,
and Becky Hoggle.
and Becky Hoglard.
okay. Motion made to appoint both of them, one appoint, reappointments. Is there a second? Second by Boone. Is there discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
All right, so everything is, set to go here.
All.
The new guy in the zoning was last month, or?
Yeah, we'd already
We,
done
yeah,
that.
right, yeah.
And then, I guess you guys can do portfolios, but so we don't forget this, and before we move on, and for whatever reason, in the last couple of years, EMS, which is Emergency Services, has not been held by a commission, and,
I didn't think so.
I think the chairman, and he's agreed to this, I think he should take that, so maybe perhaps we should make that official.
Make a motion that EMS is Dennis' portfolio.
Is there a second to that?
Second it.
Motion made by Stan, second by Brown Miller, discussion on it.
You know, I don't know how that fell in between the cracks, because way back in the
What's
day,
EMS
I
stand?
remember, Tammy.
Emergency management.
Okay.
I thought I did have it, that's right.
No, it hasn't been in the list. I went back to my list the last
It was
2 or 3 years, it hasn't been on there. And I don't know how it got,
And it probably wouldn't have come up except I was in having a conversation with her and she said, I haven't seen anybody in several years. So I went, look.
but there, it used to be, because I know she was my portfolio at one time,
Oh,
so
that fell
I don't know how
through.
that happened. And it's immaterial, but,
Anyway, I'd love to do it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. And
Hey,
you
do we
guys-
need to do anything with this? That's just a FYI.
Yep. So you guys can discuss portfolios now.
All right, starting with Mr. Miller.
I talked to Chris a little bit last week, and I guess one of his car and another vehicle had to have some work done, which is the bill, I think, to Trader's Auto Works for about $8,000. I don't know exactly what they did, but quite a bit of work it is, it sounded like.
I
So
think his motor was getting broke down, didn't it?
I guess he didn't explain.
I'm curious, and I don't know if this came up in your conversation, but I'm curious how a 2021 isn't under warranty with only less than 50,000 miles on it.
And I asked him about that, I'm like, do you think we'll pay to get extended warranties on these? I mean, evidently we put on quite a few miles, and
I don't know any vehicle sold today that doesn't have at least 5 years and 60,000.
right,
And it is under on both of those, and I can't figure that out.
which, I guess if you had it done here in town, I don't know, you gotta have it at a
Chevy
show,
Chevy.
so.
So I'm mystified because I knew nothing about it, but I have no idea why you'd be replacing lifters and cams on a vehicle that's a 2021 with 46,000 miles.
oh my,
Well, that's something.
That would definitely be warranted.
Them should have been taken to Chevy, where they cover the warranty,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's the oil change maintenance?
I don't know that is a big deal.
Is Chris coming today?
This is my,
I didn't even know.
this is my personal view on that. They let those vehicles sit and idle for hours and hours at a time.
And I've asked about that, you know why what the excuse is? Because the computer system, shut them off, takes so long to reboot the computer system.
Yeah. Heard that story too.
But, that's my take.
Lots of money again.
If that was a diesel engine, that'd be a different set of circumstances. I just don't think it's good to let the vehicles idle for extended periods of time.
There's a reason why if you, new vehicles nowadays, if you let them idle, after 10 minutes, they shut off automatically.
Right.
There's a reason for that.
But it's water under the bridge now, because what's done is done, but I think that's a communication element, because I would be shocked if that vehicle wouldn't have been under warranty.
Well, that can be checked out.
Too late now.
No, but just to make the point.
For
Wow,
further
right.
information, for further
I'm
time.
talking a couple $100 here, this is, real money.
I mean, doesn't hurt to ask the question.
Absolutely.
In fact, most vehicles have way more warranty than that. 770.
Where do you get it fixed?
Up the town here, trailers.
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 Well,
Used to be
trailers.
trailers.
Used to be trailers.
Fixed Kreider?
Yeah.
Trailers.
Now it is.
Why did you change your name?
He sold it.
He sold it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Got sold.
This is the new guys.
But now, let's think this a little bit. If it's a vehicle and it's that age and it's got that miles, wouldn't he give counsel to say, don't you have warranty? I mean, doesn't that make sense, or am I?
You think so?
Well, you would think the mechanic would say.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
It would work both ways, right?
Yeah.
Would
He
it
should
pay to
know
say
that,
anything
and
to
the mechanic
Traeger
should know that.
for future use? Would it say, pay to ask him? Would it, I mean, for,
Oh, we need to get all the details.
all right, but
Yeah.
then,
Right.
Okay,
Even looking into extended warranty, I don't know how long you plan on keeping it, but.
Well, anyway, I got that your portfolio next time
that's
you
your
talk
job.
to him.
That's his job, right?
Maybe next time you talk to him, you could ask these questions.
Make a point to call him and ask him, number one,
Commission
was
wants to
it
know,
under warranty?
especially Boone wants to know.
No, talk to me, and I
And
can't
and
do,
me
I
and
got it,
everybody
that's
else.
just poor management.
don't blame it on me. I'm
Well,
not the
all
only
of
one.
us, I mean.
Blame it on me.
No, well, it's on that.
But
Another thing we discussed, he said that we had approved him to get a different, or update that pickup, which I don't remember doing that myself. The pickup that Ford has, and I was like, what sense does that make? How much has that moved in the last
Never
year?
use it, really.
And he's like, well, not that much, and it's like, why would we update that if it's sitting in
You
someone's
told him
yard?
that?
Yeah.
What did he say then?
No, he's like, okay, yeah.
What's gotta be updated is my question.
Just
Well,
newer.
A new vehicle.
Oh.
I don't remember approving that.
No.
No.
No, we didn't prove that. I
He
don't,
said that, yeah, we approved them to get a new vehicle or a
No.
vehicle, so
I think we're putting words in your mouth there.
I think what happens in that vehicle that they end up fixing, putting that 8,000 in, out of that money, all of a sudden one day it went wrong. So they said, well, let's take it to the mechanic, see what's wrong. Well, he started digging, the deeper we got, the more he figured out. I mean, it might have been a innocent situation, but at the same token, it should have been something with warranty.
Well, we don't know that.
Right, but I'm just saying, I mean,
Yeah,
that's probably how those things happen.
but there's fault both ways, is that he should have told him, you know, this is under warranty, he said. You know what I mean? The
So
mechanic should know that.
Is the car sitting in the garage then yet that you got last year?
As far as I know.
So that's
So
basically not being used either.
there was a time when Tyler was still employed here where it would be out on the road occasionally. But I think everybody drives an SUV, and I think that car sits in the garage.
There's something to it.
So we're long vehicles, is the long and short of it.
Yeah, I think we're okay with that. I've seen that car in Harvey though. Somebody's driving it and so on.
Yes, I haven't seen it out there.
I've seen that young kid drive that all the time, too.
Yeah,
The
he's got an SUV sitting at his place in Harvey.
Yeah.
And, but I think he'd have to go back to when Tyler was.
I think that's probably who it was, you're right.
But, as far as the pickup, no hours were submitted for the month of January, and I think it was 8 or something in December, so hasn't moved much.
That's what I thought too, so when he told me that, it sure makes sense to update that.
Right.
I mean, if you, in my eyes, if you really wanted to do your best job taking care of those things, they wouldn't all be sitting outside. Big shop over there that they could be in, but then you have to drive to work to get it, so.
Speaking of Tyler, who's the police chief in Timber?
Does the young deputy live in Harvey?
Yeah.
In his apartment?
Yeah.
That's where you see it.
Yeah, you see it every night, anytime I go to the ball game.
Right, yeah, that's it, yeah. So,
Brian?
Otherwise, he said it was going good with both the deputies, so. That was about it otherwise, so I think that's it.
Well, we're lucky. There's a couple good deputies, and they're visible in the community, and,
Yeah.
you know, that's good.
And Calvin, I mean, she's good too, and then there's the ball game now. She's good.
Stan?
Dan and Janet, Janet's coming in, got a hodgepodge of things to talk about, so I won't be redundant there, so, no.
I mentioned that with, county agent, they're gonna evaluate her. I can't remember the date, but I'll figure it out. I'm supposed to go to that.
Yeah. How many years ago I had that portfolio on NDSU people came up with, so pretty good.
And as far as Terry, I haven't heard nothing up there, if that office is running smooth or not. I haven't said anything for a while. And I figure no news is good news. I don't know. So,
Well, I'm like, I got Brent coming in and no use me repeating what he's gonna talk about because we're trying to hear it. Anyway,
You can maybe be briefer than he would.
but I do have to say he's trying to work on cutting some corners with the county, but you know what, things cost what they cost. It's a tough situation, as we'll talk about later on. Cammy, the custodial staff, she's got a concern about snow removal, that the person that comes, if they don't move, they can go. But I didn't quite understand that deal, and I'm not here when that happens, so is there an issue there or what, you know?
I don't think there is one, but I suppose if you have a storm or 12 inches of snow, it might seem like it's a lot all of a sudden.
Which haven't.
We've had a couple of days where I think he's only been here twice this winter. And he comes when I ask him to, basically, which is a good arrangement. He doesn't have a preconceived idea, I'm going to do this.
Hey.
He does it. One of the times I had requested, he got here, he's got an opener so we can go and get the equipment. There was some issue, okay, we went home, got his own stuff, and he came back and did it. But he's only been here one other time, so I think everything that we've had this winter is, we can deal with it. And if Jamie would say to me, Dan, I can't do this all in the morning, I would come earlier and we'll do this. Okay, I don't wanna bring him up here $100 an hour to shovel out 12 feet
No.
of sidewalk out here. I just don't think that's, okay, I would do that, but I don't know, if he'll reach out to me and get up at ridiculous hours still and just sit there kind of waiting to come to work someday, so I would gladly come over and do that if you would say something.
Well, there's certain situations, if you have a heavy snow event during the night, it's still snowing in the morning, you know what? It ain't a perfect world. Not everything's gonna be nice and swept clean at 7:55. People understand that,
People that live in this.
I know Cammy likes to have it done.
Well,
No, she was,
that's
very particular.
That's the thing, I guess, yeah. Oh, that's all I got. Brian, you got something?
Been talking with the state's attorney, a lot of good things happening there. And, he's getting ready to live in Wells County and get it done. He's a busy man. As far as the treasurer goes, nothing much there. And also, the librarian resigned for a week and a half ago. They're in the process of finding one. And that worked very diligently. They would probably this
The library board?
yeah, but they're gonna wait till next month till they get past this, finding the library and stuff like that. So they'll be here sometime this year.
So just to refresh my memory, there's a mill dedicated to the library.
Yep.
and they appear on your balance sheet there, so I wanna say, I guess it's around two, I think they can have up to four, I believe. Might be a little less.
Who manages that money?
The city of Harvey is
City of
where
Harvey.
we
But
send
the
it.
city of Harvard helps with that, yeah. And there's been a little discrepancy now, what, where, when, and how. They're diligently working on that, so they're making detail. They're doing a very good job. We'll say that.
Is there a reason why this is done exactly?
Nobody had seen it coming, and the rest of the workers had no idea, except
It's a weird deal. With every Friday afternoon, she puts any kind of monies or anything in the city box, that the city isn't available, and she said, as of the day I'm resigning,
right.
I didn't even return phone calls,
Nope.
people wondering what the deal was. So that,
There's speculation that she was there and she had health insurance, even though she's at the age where she could have Medicare. But she requested the family thing because of her husband, I guess. The speculation is he might have retired now, so he could be on Medicare, she doesn't need to be there. That's speculation, whether that's true or not.
yeah, people really don't know.
But she, like you said, there's no communication of any form. And one of the things that's lucky, the people that were there were willing to dive in and help to figure out what's going on where, and they did a pretty good job.
Well, they're very lucky to have good volunteer workers there.
Right, but they got two workers that get paid. And what I'm getting at though is they were able to, and they are advertising for a lot of work. And I think they've got several applications.
So it wasn't that she already read it.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, she read them all.
Possibility. All right, anything else, portfolios? If not, morning, Jenna.
Morning.
If you need more than 15 minutes, you got it.
You got it. You
Well,
start
it depends on how many questions they have. We'll start with zoning.
You have such complicated stuff, it's hard to ask questions.
Well, the zoning's the easy one.
Yeah,
This is positive news.
we received 2 conditional use permits this month. Both brought in $2,000 per application.
Cool.
So,
And what are they for?
so this first one that I'm giving to you is for,
I don't know.
is for Otter Tail Power Cooperative. They want to bury a power line, and they've got verbal approval from the landowner and notified those around it, it's on site. They just need to be able to get into the county right away or forget which one it is.
They're going around the cemetery, so
Yeah.
you're going to county right away.
They don't want to have to bury the line under cemetery, so they want to put it in the county right away. The zoning commission recommended they to approve the application. And then the second one that I just gave to you is a gravel pit for Lein and Michelle Johnson. They want to crush gravel there or what have you for the project on 52 that's going to happen this summer. It's going, I think they said that they wanted to start mining or crushing gravel in March, and it would last about 3 months, but they're not going to be hauling it out, that's a different company, so they just want to be able to crush and send the gravel pit. And again, the zoning commission recommended the approval from the county commission. We did have Brent from Fisher Sand and Gravel, which is who applied for the permit, and
Crushing permit.
yeah, and he explained that it was just for those purposes of getting it ready for the highway.
Apparently the hot mix is gonna get set up there.
Does Otter Tail doesn't have to cut any roads or anything?
No, it's already, either four or just buried.
I know that was the deal when last we had somebody that needed to cut a road, we said, no, we want underneath it. Okay.
You know, there's some discussion in our zoning board, if, you know, they contacted the landowners and verbally got agreements. Somebody said, well, that should be in writing. Well, they already have an easement for the overhead power line. They really wouldn't even have to ask. And we really don't know why they're burying this, and it doesn't matter. But they already have an easement for all the private landowners. They're really coming to us just because they're going on this right away. And so, and look, the other thing is we've changed the fees. A year ago, this would have been $50 each, but we finally changed the fees to equate it to a minimum and a maximum, and it was, what, 1/10 of 1% of the total cost, not to exceed $2,000. So each one of these projects is over $200,000. So in turn, that's where the $2,000 comes from. But,
So in the various, they take the poles out and everything?
I would assume, and we don't know why, and it doesn't matter. I don't know why they're burying it, to be honest with you.
And the ice doesn't fit.
Well, they're not burying anybody else's, but maybe a landowner, I don't know why, it doesn't matter. It's Concordia Lutheran Cemetery that they're going around. So,
Well, they're gonna put it in the road bridge.
I know, but we still don't know why they're burying it, it doesn't matter.
That's their business. We need to approve these?
I'll make a motion that we approve these and give them,
That's all of them?
well, both of them.
Okay. Motion made by Stan, is there a second? Second by Boone. Any discussion on it? Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
This is just an update, we got an email yesterday from Scott Marion on Garrison Diversion. He said they may be taking bids this summer 2027 for the Red River Valley water pipeline. And was coming for potentially starting late fall or winter of 27 through 28. So he asked how long the application would be good for, and I told him that once it's approved, it's good for a year. And then I also explained that was a change in fees as well for the commission. So I'm guessing we'll see something here in the next year or two. Finally, Stan asked that I come and we revisit the whole fee schedule as far as the townships and cities assessing contracts. Right now, the townships are paying $400 per year, and the cities range from $500 to $2,300 per year, with a $30 fee if I don't have a property card and I have to make one, and a $3 fee if it's a reassessment where we've got everything on the property card, but it might be just a new addition that we've got to go and add to the property card, that would be a $3 fee. He asked that I check with some of the other counties as to what they're doing. Some have $1 per parcel. We have 1,530 parcels total in Harvey, just to give you an idea, just in Harvey City alone. Some have just a thing for doing a revaluation of the entire county for, Trail County. And they're doing, I think it's $30 for each parcel. For now, that is for a 5-year project, and then it sounds like they're gonna go for $20 a parcel. I just received one this morning, another one where they go by valuations. So if the township has less than $1 million in truthful value, this is Burke County, so their land isn't great, and we have far more in every township than $1 million in value. But if we have less than $1 million, it's $400 in assessment. No, if it's less than $600, excuse me, $400. If it's between $600 and $1 million, it's $700 in that's charged, and if it's more than $1 million, it's $1,000. Well, our least is like so really good in township, like $8 and $10 million in value, just right there. You know, and our largest is Harvey City, and that's 111 million plus. So I don't know, their schedule would not work with Wells County, but it's something to think about as far as, you know, making it profitable for
We
that.
get a few phone calls if that was, we did that.
Yes. I'm just, something else to consider is that Wells County, the agricultural values were audited this year for agricultural. It happens sporadically. I've passed this year, and I've passed every other year that they've ever done it on. However, they came up with 5 things that they would recommend that we do review, look at, what have you. One is to look at, to update the 2012 soil survey. Right now we're using soil survey from 2012, but every year NRCS comes up with new soils, and I don't, we had 120, and I think we're up to 177 soil base now. So they recommended that we update it. I tried that a couple of years ago, and it was not well received, so we might just have to bite the bullet and do it anyway. We're still using land use from the 2008 FSA maps, which means that anything that's considered ag is tillable, that's what we value it as, is tillable land. But it's non-ag through FSA, it's considered tillable acres. It could be at the CRP, it could be pasture land, that's valued at a different set of numbers, regardless of soil type, and then there's water. 2008 is a number of years ago. I've already done some over to meet with township officials to redo land use. The problem is there are 6,600 plus agricultural parcels in Wells County through all 36 townships, so it's a lot of work. And I don't know how we're going to change land use to a modifier or layer in a GIS system without having Civil do it or doing something in-house. I'm not sure how that's going to go yet. And I've talked to Stan about it, but I mean, there's a lot of things that we're looking at, and not all of it's going to be cheap if we were to update what the state wants us to update. What are your thoughts? Yes.
Well, tell everyone that she has, and mind you, her office passed, but she has until the 14th of March now to respond to the recommendation. So she needs to write a letter as to
What avenues we're going to
what
look at.
avenues you're doing in order to approve this.
Mhm.
Okay, and it's typical, I said this to Jana, I'm on a bank board and you get audited 3 times a year, FDIC, it's cybersecurity, all kinds of stuff. They always come up with a recommendation for something. Okay, the carpet's not clean, I mean, almost silly stuff. The one they had there, the soil board hasn't met in 7 years, and they really should. That's all they said. For what? They didn't give a good reason why, but they hadn't met in 7 years, the county soil board. Okay, so that's just an example. But she needs to respond and be nice to them, saying that here are the steps we're going to do to try to alleviate these concerns by March 14th. So, yeah.
This is just a few things there. Coming through, I mean, we've been the Harvey place this week, and we've gotten to the 30 properties on site, some collections and all that stuff. Yeah, tomorrow, I'll see you, yep. So,
Hey, so recommendations, are they like in stone, you have to do that, or is it just?
I think the biggest thing is they want you to see that you're making progress and updating things to be most current. And because you're still using 2012, and I'm sure that there's other counties that are still using older data as well, because I know like Becky County, they use the 2012 as well. I'm sure that when they get audited, they'll be told to update it. But the way that they've got theirs set up, I don't know that they could update it, because they hired somebody to do it, and ever since then, they just don't change anything.
Go back to that technology again. What approximately would at some point this cost updating?
If you were to have Civil do it, I can get it.
Explain
Estimates.
briefly to everyone what Sidwell even is.
Sidwell is a GIS company, so if you go on to like the state website and you're pulling up parcel A and it looks like this, and it has this parcel number, this legal description and whatnot, this is what the area looks like. That's what they do for us for our valuation. So they have several layers. They'll have an aerial layer that shows everything how it lays within the county. They'll have a parcel layer, which will show each of the parcels within the township. I don't have any cities, it's just the township ones that are stuck. Then they'll have a layer for land use, and that's the one that would need to be updated. And that is, I don't know what that is, but then there's that, and then there's a layer for modifiers. So we have a wetland modifier. So they do all of these layers so that you can look and see how each parcel is valued. I don't have ArcGIS, so I can't look at them per se. I can get it, again, it's an additional fee. But I would need that program to be able to look at what they're doing. So there's some trust there as well. And then,
When you say your stuff is 2012, did they do it the last time?
well, I had to tell them, I had to create a zip drive from Web Soil Survey, and then they uploaded it, but what ended up happening is there was so much pushback because people didn't like the new soil, they didn't like what the guys were, they didn't like what the values changed, because when you bring it in, you're gonna have some parcels that increase 110%, and some that decrease 50%. I mean, it's just a revaluation, that's how it works. But I got enough
Was, not to
pushback.
interrupt, but in 2012, was that the first time Wells County went to
Yes.
soil?
And the state law stated that we had to value by soil type and land use and this, that, and the other by 2012.
And Wells County, if I remember right, because I got land in Pierce and Sheridan, they were the last county in the state to do this. Pierce
Wow.
County was back in the late 90s already. They were using soil surveys versus like a local assessor who would just kind of say, well, I think this is worth this and I think this is worth that. It was based on soil type. Wells County was very late in the game in doing that.
Yes, yep, when I implemented it, I sent out a couple thousand notices of increase that year. It was
Oh, yeah.
a rough year. I filled the courthouse, or the courtroom for that equalization meeting. But, there was a stipulation in there that there was some funding that you would not get if you did not
It was
apply.
required by the state.
Yes, and
I'm
so,
gonna guess this is way six figures, but
mhm.
it would be A, updated, B, it would be fair, even though that word is in the mind of the beholder.
I mean, updating the soil types isn't that, the hardest part of updating the soil types is going to be getting the number of acres per soil type, because you're going from 120 to 178. And then you're going to have to completely redo your pricing schedule. So all of the formulas that I have in my pricing schedule that says, okay, I need to be within that dollar amount from an NDSU that I brought last month. Well, I have to redo all those formulas, and it's doable. I mean, it is totally doable to update that land or soil type. The land use is what's going to be, the land use is what should be done first in my opinion. For the simple fact that you're using 2008 FSA, how much of some of that non-agricultural CRP has been built up? Or how much of has been turned from pasture into acres, or, you know, that kind of thing. And the townships have already gone through, and they can be the ones really, once it's implemented, to go, well, not really, I think that soil board said every 3 years they have to re-look at, so that every other township could be on a 3-year rotation, so that they could go and look at areas and be like, no, we need to change this land use in this parcel. You know, it would be updated more frequently than to go off of an void, you know. I think that would be, that in your soil types, I would be over that in 1 year for everybody. But I don't know how much it would cost for Sidwell to do that land use layer, because it would be completely from scratch. Now, the way that the township set it up was, we got a section of land, and they looked at it, and we did this a number of years ago, and they would say, okay, well, this quarter needs to be non-A, the rest is A. Okay, so we would have, the parcels in this quarter would be non-A valued, and then this would be agriculture. And then the next one, they would look at that and they'd tell me, okay, well, this parcel's a mixed parcel, but, or this quarter is a mixed quarter, but the rest is A. You know, so I think you'd be getting away from a lot of that 2 or 3 acres here, there, that happens in FSA maps, you know. Because I think there was a contiguous, it had to be contiguous for so many acres. I think it had to be 40 more acres or something like that, to be considered a mixed quarter. So I mean, it would clean up a lot of things as well to do that. I know I had talked to Sidwell a long time ago and said, well, a few years ago, and said, well, could we do this over kind of say like 4 years so that it stays out there at cost to put that land use layer out there. And we can do that. So 36 townships divided by 4, and you just get so many done per year, and then implement all of a sudden. I mean, that's doable as well. Yeah, that's where I'm at in my head. That's called work. So.
I guess what I would recommend is, and we talked about this, is reach out to Sidwell and see what this will cost.
Yeah, and I think the state would be okay if we wrote, we have a 5-year plan.
Right, oh yeah,
Yeah, because they don't expect it in 1 year.
No,
I would say we
no.
have a 5-year plan and this is what we're looking at doing. You know, so that would alleviate that problem. The only other problem would be the township assessment contract bill from us. We're kind of got sidetracked.
I mean, it's $400, but that's really different pocket.
Yeah.
Or, more importantly, the city of Harvey's. Wasn't there one, was it Trail County that was charging $20 per parcel? And they did say that kind of gets expensive for bigger
But
cities.
they're also redoing all of their assessments. They're on a 5-year reassessment project.
Well, we're kind of that way with Harvey, only you're on a, what, 10-year?
A lot.
And a little background information, Harvey doesn't want to pay us, or Jana, or us, the county, over a certain amount per year, so
I
she's...
think they said they budget for about $5,000. Now, what I'm gonna get done for this month is, there. And for the most part, I've been implementing or putting into the camera system, the property cards in which we already had. Because I needed that information before I could start going on site, you know, making sure the property is accurate. Or updating it, like there was one property that I went to on Monday where they built a new garage and a new addition in 2013 and it had never been picked up. So I mean, that does happen, but I'm finally to a place of entering in information that I can go on and can pick up the on-site stuff.
Did the city have a permit? That had been
Yeah,
filed?
they
for that?
they
Okay.
filed permits for me, so that I went and did my rules on Monday, and I went and did 14 on Monday and 17 yesterday, so we're getting it now, we're getting into a groove that.
But they flat out over the years didn't want you to do more than a certain amount because it went over budget. Well, some of these she's doing are 8 years old, right? 10 years old, or longer than that.
And we get the heat for it.
Jana gets the heat
That's
for
what I
it.
mean, I'm saying is that
We won't mention names, she looked at a spot yesterday and you'd all buy it for this, it was appraised at 60,000. She came up with the figures, she reappraised it for 160, and we'd all pay 200 for it. Well, these people are getting by it for 60,000 for all these years. Well, that's how out of date some of that stuff is in Harvey, but it's not Jana's fault, it's the city of Harvey is restricting, and we don't
Right.
want this all to be done in 1 or 2, 3 years because it's costing too much money, which
So we need to convey that to the people of Harvey, that it's not our fault.
Dennis and I talked about that on the way down. We're
See,
gonna have a little talk with the mayor.
there's money but not doing it.
And in the element of trying to
Okay.
get fairness, this isn't fair to anybody.
No, and here's, I'm just picking up Janet again. Here's what happens. When you see that drastic of an increase, you know the heat she gets?
Oh, yeah.
Now, this person's been getting by down here scot-free for the last 8 years because this person has a $60,000 house where it should have been $160. So they've saved all kinds of money. They don't remember that. No, they only see the increase.
The biggest problem is this year what I focused on is, like, I have all of these property cards, but literally the ones that I was pulling, this would look like, there was nothing on it. So those are the ones I'm picking on this year is, you know, the ones that I have no information on, and this was one of them, and it is what it is, when you have a house with them, there's additions and whatnot, and, I mean, it all adds up.
So you go into the house.
I request that we do, but most of them, I really would like you not to, which is fine. And I just say, well, would you answer a couple of questions, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and what your bill was it? You know, if I can tell it, it's been remodeled, when was your remodel done? And then that's where it is, because I don't like to intrude on people, I don't like to invade privacy, so.
I was just wondering, because I got a couple phone calls about that. I said, well, I think it's your choice. That's
Well,
why I clarified.
the thing is that we asked of that, well, apparently we asked, is this interpreted for we will be? Well, no, we're just asking if you're willing to.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
And if you request an appraisal because you wanna borrow money, you don't get a choice. They're coming in your house or they're not doing the appraisal.
Right, bank does it, yeah,
You better believe it.
yeah.
But if it's government, no.
I mean, there's been a handful of people that are like, come on in, we'll just, and I'm like, okay.
You know, most of the time, if people let you in, might save them some money versus Janet guessing.
Not always, but I will
No,
say
not
that
always.
there were 3 on Monday that actually decreased a little bit because they did let me in, and I was able to put a better condition on it. You know, but again, I can go the other direction too. The outside could be, you know, whatever place as normal, but they've completely redone the inside. It might be a, you know, an above normal good condition that you put on it.
Well, it's more fair is what it was.
Yeah. So,
There's no black trust with people that do.
oh, well,
Would it be, I know this gets pretty thin on your time, but would it be possible for you to put a proposal together and come back in March? I know that leaves you with about
for
2 weeks.
which part?
Well, as far as going back to the state and responding to the state.
I think I can, I'll contact my contact at Sidwell and see if I can get a, you know, maybe I can get into something like what is the overall cost and what would it be if we could do so much for vehicle support?
I think she can write up a generic enough letter saying, you know, one of them deals where we appreciate your concerns and we're doing a diligent job of looking at these proposals and in the future we will address them.
For the audit part.
For the letter back to the state.
Yeah.
Right.
But as far as, it sounds like if we had all kinds of money, it would be a good deal to update.
Right, and
It's
some of
something
that
that
too.
would be easily updated yearly or every couple of years, more so than what we have now. Because the whole reason that we base anything off of the 08 FSA is due to the fact that they were public for 3 days before they became confidential again. And in that 3 days, my predecessor, Cindy Melody, was able to download them all. But you can't get that anymore because they're all confidential. So there's no way to update it off of FSA maps.
So that's what you were referring to, Dan, right? Updated?
Yes.
Okay, I don't do that.
You get a private firm, you're gonna be paying more tech fees.
That's right.
And they're not gonna be cheap. But at some point, you do have to update it, so.
There's been a lot of changes, I would say, since 2009.
I would